My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Game of Thrones Season 2, and this will be a spoiler-filled review, so if you haven't seen it, go and watch it, then come back and watch this review because I will be going in depth. Now, if you saw my review for the first season, you'd know that I love it, and also that I couldn't pronounce any of the names. I'm sure that was really annoying for people, but this time I'm going to try to just say the names I can. So instead of saying Theon Greyjoy, I'm just going to say Greyjoy to make it easier. So anyways, this second season is one I've already watched before, and if I'm being honest, I remember not liking it all too much. And this time I certainly do like it. I think it's great, but I don't think it's as good as season 1. You know, I love everything regarding King's Landing and Winterfell and the Greyjoys and Wobstock and the Tyrells, but everything regarding Daenerys and Jon Snow just I found to be completely lacking. But let's begin talking about the storyline in King's Landing. And my goodness, Joffrey is such a sadistic bastard, and you see that in full force here. You know, the fact that he orders all of Robert's bastards be killed is absolutely horrific. Like when the men are going around the city killing the babies, it's just so evil and so awful to watch. And then the way that one bastard is revealed to be with Arya gives me chills at the end of the first episode. And I love the addition of Tyrion in King's Landing. He just mixes things up in the best way possible. He's such a great character, and I love how he's one of the very few characters to actually scare Joffrey and who will put him in his place. You know, there's that one scene where Joffrey's just being so cruel and nasty to Sansa, and Tyrion comes in and defends her. Then we've also got that one scene where Tyrion slaps Joffrey, and I love that one moment. And like the fact that Joffrey actually ordered some of the people of King's Landing to be killed because they threw cow crap at him because they're literally starving is just horrific. Like, I never get used to just how evil he is. And then this also highlights the kind of danger Sansa's in. I mean, in one scene, she literally almost gets forced upon, which was really horrific to watch. And on top of that, there's that scene where she bleeds for the first time and becomes a woman, and you just feel the weight of it. You just feel like, oh my goodness, she could have Joffrey's babies now. Like, this is so awful for her. So you feel for her life, but I also love seeing Sansa overcome every situation that comes her way and to continually put on a face. How if someone's just like, you can tell me what you really think, and she's like, I'm loyal to Joffrey, my one true love. And then Tyrion's just like, you might survive here yet. I love that one moment. But I also love Tyrion's plan to discover who the spy is and the mind games that come between him and Cersei. I thought that was really all compelling. But I just love how this entire storyline comes together in Blackwater, which is just an amazing episode. Great action, you feel the stakes, you feel the tension, you just feel the weight of everything going down. And as much as you want Stannis to win, you also don't want Tyrion and Sansa to pay the price for Joffrey's sins, so it kind of highlights the complexities there. And I also love the look of that green fire. It is just stunning to look at, and that one explosion has such huge impact. But what stands out the most is the fact that Joffrey flees like a coward and Tyrion led, only for him to almost get killed, and when he wakes up, he lost his position, and no one's grateful for what he did. I love that one line Varys says to him about how he won't be a legend, he won't go down in history here, but those who know. And that's as much gratitude as he's going to get. And then we get this one really sweet moment between Shae and Tyrion, where Tyrion fears for her life and she insists on staying. And I really came to care for these two as a couple this season. It kind of brings you back to the day they first met, how Tyrion says that he wants her to fuck him like it's his last night alive. And just where they are now, and it might actually be his last night alive, I think it's kind of sweet. So I love the way that all ends with Tywin coming back and how Joffrey ends his engagement with Sansa. And at first you're like, oh, is she going to be in danger now? Or is this a good thing? Like, you don't know what to think of it. And Sansa just has that little smile, but it instantly fades away when Littlefinger's just like, oh no, it's going to be even worse for you now. You're just going to be another woman here to get abused and to be mistreated. You thought it was bad before. You have no idea on how he offers her an out and she doesn't take it. Just it keeps you on edge. It really does. And she should have left when the Hound did. He gave her an out and she didn't take it. And now, you know, reap what you sow, I guess. Then we've got everything at Winterfell. And I'll be honest, I had an issue at first on why Robb would send Greyjoy to his family alone. But it does highlight how naive Robb is. And you kind of see how tragic of a character Greyjoy is. He's left by his family and forced into another life while he starts caring for them in some ways. And then he goes back to the family where he's just so desperate for their approval that he ends up screwing the Starks over. And I actually do think there's a tragic nature to the character here and how he's just given no honor and no respect. And no matter how hard he tries, just no one cares about him. And it's too late. He already did what he did. So you feel the weight behind each and every one of his decisions. And the death of Sir Radrick is actually a pretty emotional scene. And it's so brutal because it just shows how out of his depths Greyjoy is. It's not a clean kill. He just starts hacking away like a complete amateur. And there's no honor and there's no respect no matter how hard he tries here. And it just sums him up so perfectly. I will say the stuff at Winterfell to begin with Bran is incredibly boring, but once the town gets taken over, I was really invested, and I love how Bran escapes only to go back. That was really smart. Then we've got everything with Robb Stark, who has a bit less to do here, but it's excellent build-up. Like, the love story should be sweet, how she's a soft, good-natured woman, and how she is making him a better man, and how he falls for her. And how, I'm only talking about season 2, but this world doesn't allow love like that, as we'll see next season. And the Red Wedding is set up so masterfully here. And it also makes me think that if Cat didn't let Jaime go, if Robb wasn't so furious at her for doing that, maybe he would listen to her. But you can't really blame Cat either because she just wants her daughters back. It's an act of a mother who's terrified. So I love all this stuff. Then we've got to the Daenerys storyline, and like I said at the start, I just didn't care for this plot. Whenever we went back to them, I'm just like, can we go to the King's Landing or Winterfell or Robb Stark or just anything, because this is so boring. Like, I get its purpose in the grand scheme of things and how it contributes to her character, but it's just very lacking. I do like Daxel's fate of how he keeps bragging about his witches and it turns out his vault is empty, so they lock him in there. That was great. Then we've got the Night Watch storyline, which is another plot I didn't really care for. I get where it goes and all that, but right now it just feels irrelevant and definitely less interesting than everything else going on. So yeah, these are the two storylines that anytime we went to, I'm just like, can we move on to the next one? Then we've got Stannis and the Tyrell plot, and I like this conflict, and I like everything with the Red Hair Witch. I'm not going to try to pronounce her name. Lesson learned. See, I told you. I'm a man who learns. And I love how she can't be poisoned, and how she manipulates Stannis, and how she gives birth to this. They didn't really go in depth to what it was, but like this cloud demon, so that was all great. And this all leads to Blackwater, which, once again, I love all that stuff. So you just got yourself a great main plot in this season. And then everything with Arya, I love. I love how it ties into the King Landing plot with them looking for Gimli. And then I also love the scene when Gimli calls Arya my lady after he finds out that she's a Stark. That's a great moment. And I love everything with Arya and Tyrion. In fact, it might be my favorite stuff this season. Because you just have that feel that tension that Tyrion could discover who she is at any point, and is she going to slip up really badly? You know, there's that one scene where Littlefinger's there, and I don't know if he recognized her or not. So I thought he had some great tension, but also the type of relationship that Tyrion forms with Arya, in its own twisted way, has some level of sweetness to it. Because you can see that he does like her, and you know, she's like the one person who makes her smile, and it's just he's so mean and nasty to everyone else, but to show that this old, just miserable grouch does have a heart, it's kind of nice to see. And there's that one scene where she kind of pushes her luck, and she's like, "Careful, girl." I love it. It's got tension and sweetness all in one. So excellent stuff, and I loved everything with Hygo. I hope I pronounced his name properly, but the guy who Arya saved and now will kill any one of 3 names that she names. So I love everything with that and how she escapes. So Arya's plot I absolutely love. So I think the stories and how they interconnect and how they build up and pay off in this season is for the most part just so expertly told. But the writing is just so top notch. I have a section here of just my favorite lines of dialogue, and it's just such great writing. "I'm not questioning your honor. I'm denying its existence." And then, "That was a threat. See the difference? Would it help if my brother was there?" And then Jaime's whole spew on oaths, and if you swear on oaths to the king and also to your father, but what if they contradict? I love that entire moment. I love that scene where Jaime's just like, "Oh, what was his name?" And Caitlyn's just like, "Brienne." And he goes like, "No, that's not it." That's a really funny moment. I love conversation Tyrion has with Varys about widows and how power resides on who they decide it resides with. You know, on who was responsible for Ned's death. That entire scene is just so perfectly written, and how Tyrion's just like, "I've decided I don't like widows." And this might actually be my favorite. "We've been cursed with idiotic kings, and we've been cursed with vicious kings, but never have we been cursed with an idiot vicious king." Love it. And then we could throw books at his men. We don't have many men. Well, we don't have many books either. It's hard to put a leash on a dog once you've put a crown on its head. That's a great line. And when Sansa's like to Tyrion, "I'll pray for your safe return as I do for my king." That level of writing is just so perfect. The cast, once again, just like my review for season 1, there's a lot of names, so I'm not going to go too much into it. Michelle Fairley as Catelyn Stark, I think is great. I love the addition of Gwendolyn Christie as Brienne of Tarth. I just love how this character has honor, and she truly wants to solve and would do anything for the person she does solve. Just really love her. Sophie Turner is amazing as Sansa Stark here. Just every bit of emotion she's repressing, every line delivery, perfect. Maisie Williams is just so great and damn likable as Arya Stark. I love Tom Wiltshire as Hagar. Honorable man and has plenty of charm. Then you've got Richard Madden as Robb Stark, and I think he's great. I love how he falls in love and how naive he is, and how foolish he is to think he can get away with all of this. Una Chaplin as Talisa, I think is great. She showcases humanity and beauty so perfectly, and you understand why Robb fell for her. Kate Harington as Jon Snow is great. I just wish he had more interesting stuff to do. John Bradley, he's good. Rose Leslie as Ygritte, I think is good as well. Alfie Allen might give one of my favorite performances of this season. You know, there's that one line, "You're not the man you're pretending to be," that just sums him up so perfectly, and he's trying so hard to be this ruthless warrior, to win the love of his family, but it's not enough and it's not who he is, so because of that he keeps failing time and time again. And even though he does questionable, evil things, you still understand why he did it. Very complex character. Then you've got Gemma Rowland playing Laura Greyjoy, who I think plays the sister who knows she's so much better than her brother so perfectly. She just has a great smug behavior that really infuriates you. Then you've got Isaac Hampstead as Bran, who's fine, but I said in my last review that I think that played Eggy from the Box Trolls, but I didn't realize that Reckenstock was played by Art Parkinson, who played Kubo in Kubo and the Two Strings. So you've got two Leike main characters there. I really like that. The performances, though, the guy who plays Jaime Lannister, I'm not going to pronounce his name this time, he's excellent. He's so charismatic and filled with personality, and you just love him. Lena Headey as Cersei is great. That one scene with Power is Power, excellent. And you can see how weak she is in that moment, especially during Blackwater. So I think she does a great job. You've got Jack Gleeson, who you just love to hate. Like, he's so evil and vile and sadistic and vicious, and you want to see him dead, and he plays this character perfectly. You've got Roy McCain, who I think does a great job as a Hound, and I love how we get some character beats with him at the very end where he decides to leave the battle. You know, for a man who kills as many people, there's a limit to how much death he can take, and he just had his fill for people who he didn't care about. So I love that. You've got Peter Dinklage, who's just absolutely incredible here. I love his entrance and how he automatically gives Sansa some condolences for what happened to Ned. And then I love how much life and personality he brings to him. He showcases a wide range of emotions so perfectly. Amazing work. You've got Shay, played by Sabah Kikeli, who's great. Jerome Flynn as Bronn, who's great. Aidan Gillen, who plays Littlefinger. In that one scene when he tells Kate he loves her after talking about Ned's death, I was just thinking of Jason Bateman in Dodgeball. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. But anyways, he's great. Lord Varys might be the most underrated character. I really love what Calmless Hill brings to him. He's just a very intelligent man, and I love every conversation he has. Then you've got Charles Dance as Tywin, who's so great. He gives me Christopher Lee vibes, but he just brings a certain level of gravitas to his character, and I just love everything that he brings to this character. Ian Glenn, Emilia Clarke, Nonso Inozi, and are all great. I just wish they had a bit more to do, and I love the addition of Natalie Dormer as Mrs. Tyrell. I can't pronounce the first name. Is it Marjorie? Maybe, but she's great. So, anyways, the entire cast does a great job. If I had to pick the standouts, it would be Charles Dance, Macy Williams, Sophie Turner, Jack Gleeson, Alfie Allen, and Peter Dinklage. Those are the ones that stood out this season, and the directing is once again great. I love the look of this show. It's so well shot. The visual effects are great. The sound is great. I love the look of the White Walkers in the very last scene. And the music by Warman Dedradi is great. I love that one track, Muzzle of Dragons, excellent. So, yeah, this is yet another great season of television. I think it's got lots of great characters. I love how they drive the plot forward and not contrivance. Every story is interconnected so well. Great build-up, great payoff, great character beats. You've got yourself some emotion, some exciting action. It's incredibly well made. You've got a couple of storylines that do drag it down just a little bit, but still. This is a great season of television. I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8 out of 10. Okay, what did you think of Game of Thrones Season 2? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon, and Gavin, out.